Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Rick here at Against All Enemies. I am delighted today to be joined by my friend Lev Parnas. Lev is a guy who remembers and he knows shit that he's got a mind like a trap, folks. He remembers the people, the places, the things that have gone on, and a lot of the stuff in Trump's world in the last decade plus that we should have in context right now. And Lev, thank you for coming on today, buddy. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rick. It's been a pleasure. I know you're my man. I would love the stuff you and Lincoln Project do. I think you just do an incredible job to try to save our democracy. So I'm happy to be here with you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Hey, so I wanted to lead in today on Thursday. Who flew in on a private jet to D.C. but our old buddy Todd Blanche to, I will say this as bluntly as I can, to offer Ghislaine Maxwell a big fat bribe to say what they want. You have some experience with Todd, and tell us about that, and tell us about what you think happened in the room today between Todd Blanche and his friend, who is Ghislaine's attorney, and Ghislaine. How do you think that went today?
Yeah,
or Thursday.
So first of all, let me give you guys a little background on Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche used to be a Southern District of New York ASU, prosecutor. Then he went and started working for a big firm and started representing Paul Manafort. He was part of the Manafort Trump team when I got arrested, and we were arrested in Alexandria, Virginia. And originally, my lawyers were John Dowd and Kevin Downing. John Dowd was Trump's attorney, and Downing was Manafort's attorney. But when the case came out of Southern District, they had to give us New York attorneys, and who happened to be the attorney that was given to me and my partner Igor was Todd Blanche and another gentleman by the name of Ed McMahon. At the time, if those of you that know my story, while I was still in Alexandria, while I was still in prison, while Rudy sent me that postcard underneath my door telling me, trust Manafort's lawyers and all of that, I fired them, and I ended up hiring my good friend and lawyer, Joe Bondi. And when that happened, our first conversation was, I remember it was in New York City. We were right before going in front of the court arraignment the next morning, and we had this conference call between Todd Blanche, my lawyers, and others about talking about how, we're going to have a cooperation agreement between the lawyers, share all the information, how we're going to, meet up later. And I'll never forget how I got into a screaming match, and I basically, do we curse on this show? I mean, I don't know how.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'll never forget how I called up Todd. I mean, I was crazy at the time, screaming into the speakerphone saying, fuck you, I don't want to see you. And I was telling Igor, my partner, that if you even come here with Todd Blanche, that, me and you have no relationship anymore. And you got to understand, this is literally a week after we got arrested. This is all up and happening right before arraignment is coming up the next day. And Igor came to the office without Todd Blanche, and I told him very clearly that if Todd Blanche is going to represent you, then, me and you have no cooperation agreement, because I'm going to come out and tell the truth. And that was the flipping point from where Todd Blanche was trying to help me and telling me that, I'm going to work everything out. We have everything going on in the Southern District of New York. Rudy telling me that Trump is going to, give you a pardon. Everything is going to be great. To all of a sudden, now they became adversaries. Now, all of a sudden, every newspaper article or interview that I'm doing, you see Todd Blanche coming out and trying to contradict me. But it wasn't so much for Igor, his client. It was for Donald Trump, even going back 2009. 2020, because he was part of that machine already, part of the Manafort Trump, that inner machine. And that continued until he went and did something really big, which showed me who Todd Blanche is and what I think, and this will lead into what I think is happening today. When I decided, me and Igor both were subpoenaed by the Congressional Committee, impeachment, to give evidence of Donald Trump. When I decided to give my evidence and give my information to the impeachment committee, Todd Blanche went and tried to, he went to court and filed the judge to seal the records. So I wouldn't be able to hand over the records to the impeachment committee against Trump. And he didn't do it because it benefited his client in any way. On the contrary, the only person that was benefiting was Donald Trump at the time, because out of the 300 articles of impeachment, 100 of them are mine. That evidence that we were kick Todd Blanche's ass in court and get the judge to allow us to hand that over. And my lawyer had said, and there was a nonstop, constantly going. Todd Blanche going back and forth trying to shut up, and there was always, you could tell, even going back then, it wasn't for Igor's benefit, it was all for Donald Trump's benefit.
Sure.
So what you're seeing today play out, especially, a lot of people don't even understand the relationship that Todd Blanche has with Maxwell's attorney Marcus, and it to the extent that they're literally playing this whole thing out, Rick, and they're not even hiding it. I mean, literally, you had Johnson, the House Speaker, come out, say that they want to bring Maxwell in, but they don't know if they could trust what she's going to say. You got Comer talking about they're going to subpoena her. All of this, mumbo jumbo, and then he responds in a tweet, literally saying, "Listen, guys, Maxwell's going to tell the truth." Just like she's going to tell the truth to Todd Blanche after she's so after she speaks with Todd Blanche, we'll let you know how we decide
what the truth is.
We'll let you know how we're going to decide if we're going to tell what we're going to tell you and how we're going to tell you. I mean, literally an open view. And the fact that Todd Blanche is going to see her alone, that, I mean, any prosecutor, anybody in this world, that never happens. This is like having the CEO of it's like having Elon Musk go and try to interview
some guy that sells him batteries or something,
or the cleaning person or something like that. It doesn't happen.
He's the deputy attorney general of the United States, and he's going down to do this, and it's so very obvious that he's doing this on as Trump's lawyer, not really as America's lawyer. He's so obvious. And I mean, I just think that you're the first person to really bring it up directly, that there's a relationship between Marcus, her lawyer, and Todd Blanche, a pre-existing relationship. I mean, it just goes to show you that incredibly intimate, wrapped up sort of Trump world mafioso kind of thing with all these people. They're so interconnected, and when you get down to it, since Blanche came from Manafort world, that connects it back to Stone and Cohn and all these other people around Trump for a generation. It blows my mind how so many folks in the media just leave that stuff hanging. They just forget about it, or they don't cover it, or they think it's irrelevant.
And that's one of the things I talk about constantly, on my Substack, is like the media is, some of them are complicit, some of them are just scared, some of them are all over the place. It's just, you see, but at the end of the day, it's their fault, because one of the things, our First Amendment, one of the things, our constitutional right to be able to get information, to be able to make fair judgment, is gone, because you got Donald Trump scaring everybody, threatening, suing, and they're folding. That's the crazy part. You have real, big media companies like ABC, CBS folding, and you got big reporters that are leaving, and because of that, you have newspapers like the Washington Post, because of now being Bezos owned, start doing different things. You have the Los Angeles Times. I mean, the information that we are used to seeing through the mass media is not there anymore. That's why independent journalism. That's why, like, stuff that you do, stuff that like my son Aaron does, Parnas, something like the Midas guys, Lincoln, is extremely important. That's why that is right now what is the front line of being able for us to know what's going on. And that's why it's important to support independent journalism, because CNN, MSNBC, they're garbage. I'm sorry, they sold their soul. They don't, I mean, the pundits out there don't even, it's funny, they have somebody out there 20 years ago that might have served for some president to give their opinion about what Donald Trump's going to do. Meanwhile, there's plenty of people that like.
Meanwhile, people like you and I who have studied like Donald Trump closer than almost any human beings. Here we are on Substack. Which, what? Actually, I'm perfectly proud of that. I think.
Me too.
I think we've there's an emergent media space on Substack that is reliable and quick. And you know what, folks? Maybe it's not as slick as the graphics on CNN or on Fox or whatever, but it's honest. And your Substack is terrific, and Shadow Diplomacy, the book, is terrific. I mean, you've got insights into this man that absolutely dig into. I mean, some of the things we're watching play out right now were the things you saw transpiring and the things that they involved you in and you were involved in, including the whole Burisma thing with Rudy, all of that insanity. So you've seen the corruption, right? You stared it right in the eye. You've looked at it directly.
Oh, I mean, you could say that again. And the interesting part is I bring it up right now, Steve Witkoff is the new Lev Parnas. Just think about it. You have your Rubios, you have just
not as smart, Lev.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Definitely. I think
that guy is not that guy is on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I did not listen, go watch Netflix documentaries before I went into the country. I agree with thank you, Rick. But the point of it is it's actually like even though Trump has your Rubios and your official people that are out there, just think about it. None of them have even met Putin yet since his term, but Witkoff has met him 4 times. I mean, Witkoff has met the Iran delegation. Witkoff has met Bibi Netanyahu and Hamas. Witkoff is his guy in there because just like I was at the time, Rudy was. I would say Rudy, and I was Rudy's right hand, but being a part
special
of
envoy kind of thing.
It was an unofficial special envoy. Rudy was unofficial, Secretary of State and stuff like that. They were there just to make the press releases, but we were there to do the dirty work, like what's happening here with Witkoff and others that are doing it. But this time around, it's a lot more dangerous because, Rick, and better than anybody, in the first administration, we at least had barriers. Trump was not unleashed the way he was. He was still did not know what he can or cannot do. He was still scared of certain things that didn't know how repercussion. There were people around him that kept trying to constantly do the right thing. And, when you had now you don't have any of that. That's what people really need to understand. The loyalist that he's, and I don't even blame him because yes, he could ask for anything, but I blame the Senate, Congress, these spineless scum that are out there that sold our country, sold our life by giving Trump full control. Yeah, it's okay. You want him to be your president, but there's barriers. Don't give him full control. Don't put in people like Tulsi Gabbard in your DNI. Don't put in Kash Patel as your FBI. Don't put on Pete Hegseth as your, secretary. What are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? Okay, maybe, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of these people that they put in positions, and the guys at Moscow have to be doing backflips. Pete Hegseth is a walking security violation everywhere he goes. Tulsi Gabbard is a fellow traveler. When Soleyev on Russian TV is like, she's our girlfriend, we love her. There's a reason they say that. I mean, short of Mike Flynn, I don't think they could have had a better person in as Director of National Intelligence. They really scored with that one.
How about I'll give you even a better one? I don't know if you know who's Trump put in charge, who's sitting in the White House as in charge of all the hiring and firing.
Oh, Sergio Gore. Not from Malta, as he said, but in fact from Russia.
I mean, the guy that is vetting everybody won't even let himself get vetted. Listen,
I can tell you one thing. When I did my security clearance the first time, at one point I filled it out. And it was back in the days when you had to use a typewriter, folks. So this is in the dark ages. And I filled it out and I got my zip code wrong on one address. And it was like a whole thing. This guy won't even tell people where he's from or show them a birth certificate. No. And he's vetting the most sensitive jobs in the administration, people with the highest levels of classification and the highest levels of clearances. It's astounding to me. I mean, he particularly interests me because, and I heard about him. Somebody in Palm Beach was like, oh, he's like all over. He's up their asses all the time. He's always like kissing Don Jr.'s ass. He's always kissing Ivanka and Jared's ass. He's around everywhere. He's always like playing them up and he's so good at it. He's bullshitting them so much. And this was back in just after Trump got thrown out in 20, at the end of 20. And somebody said he was like, oh yeah, he's like the guy. He's one of those guys around him, who will never say, oh, Mr. Trump, you're a criminal or you're a fuck up. It's always like, sir, you are so tall and beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's if you take a look at it, it's history repeats itself because back in 2015, 16, when he won the first time, if you remember, Rick, right after, like literally a month prior to the elections, you had the hot Billy Bush tape come out where
Yep.
where it was over with. Everybody said that's it. He was at 30-something%.
Yep.
That's when I had that dinner for him, and that's when like that family clicked. So that was that inner
Right.
circle that then grew
Right.
with him, that became loyal in his first administration.
Mhm.
Now you have the same thing, but that happened during 2020. So you have all the crazy nuts, all the
Right.
crazy conspiracy theories that supported his crazy conspiracies from 2020 till 2024.
Yep.
That is who's around him. There is
Yeah.
nobody, even Ivanka's not even around him.
No,
Jared's
oh
not
no.
around. I mean,
Ivanka and Jared.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give them a lot of credit, but to their credit, they realized if they were there
yeah.
now, they would be the center of so much hatred, even more than they were before. They had a lot of hatred before. This would be at a whole new level because they both occasionally were like, well, maybe you should pump the brakes on this or that crazy idea.
But
And-
one thing I will tell you for your
Yep.
subscribers, I'm going to give you a little breaking, a little. Jared is still playing a little behind the
I,
scenes.
I know he's around a little bit.
And I'll tell you where. I'll tell you exactly where because of his
UAE.
relation. His relationship with the the Saudis,
Yep.
and the Russian wealth fund run by Kirill Dmitriev, and
Mhm.
Kirill Dmitriev is who is the Trump. Putin's special envoy that deals with Witkoff. And Witkoff came into Witkoff and Jared became very close, going back to like around 2018 when you had that whole Witkoff. A lot of people don't know was involved with Chairman Yi that from China. That originally they were saying the Biden whole corruption. It was Witkoff who was doing business with them. Then when he got indicted, Witkoff, then all of a sudden Len Blavatnik comes in. I mean, I could go, Rick. I could go on. And
I know. Like I said,
I don't
you
know.
have you have the most phenomenal memory of these people. I mean, and you know, there's you end up with guys like Howard Lutnick. It turns out he knows Epstein too. I mean, I don't know if Witkoff does, but it wouldn't shock me at this point because from Alex Acosta to Pam Bondi, there are so many of these tiebacks throughout this history with this guy, with Epstein and Trump, and I had people in Palm Beach, even back in the late 90s, like, oh, Trump and this guy Epstein, they're always around town chasing pussy. They're crazy. I mean, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I really wasn't focused on Donald Trump at the time, but it certainly, I mean, their friendship was close as could be. I don't know if you saw this broke a little while ago, just after we came on, somebody passed me a note about it. On the tapes that Steve Bannon recorded with Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein says, no, I broke off relations with Trump because I found out he was such a crook.
It was about they got into a fight about the house and
the house, right? It was a property dispute.
And again, who was involved? The Russians.
The Russians. And the Russian, he buys the house for $41 million. He beats Epstein by, I don't know, a couple $100,000 on the deal. And then the Russians swoop in and buy it for like $190 million. So it was the most transparent bribe you've ever seen. But it was right as he was rising up, he was going to suddenly be a public figure. And those guys know how to make a bet.
Well, also, we're starting to see with the Michael Wolff tapes, and he has so many of them. That one of them that I just found and I put out in my Substack is a 2017 conversation where Epstein talks about, people talk about that they had it blowing out into 2005 and that was it. Right. But I think there's more to it, and this is where we're getting to, because I heard snippets of these tape conversations where Epstein is talking about information that he's talking about what Trump told him about Kellyanne Conway, about George Conway, about Steve Bannon, how he turns them against each other, how he speaks to Carl Icahn and all of, I mean, and this is actually, if you look back at exactly what happened and what he was talking about. So I when we say they broke it off, because then there's also, then you got to take a look to follow the money. And now we're finding out that Epstein has over $1.5 billion of wire transfers from 2016 to 2000. I mean,
I'd like to know where that money came and went. That is fascinating.
And over $500 million of it, we know now we're finding out had to do with Russia.
Yeah.
So, so what I'm saying to you that I think there's a lot more to this story, and that's why I was saying it all along. I said, and I'm happy to see that the media finally did not let it die out, that they kept pressing it, asking the questions, and that's why we see Trump making all of these crazy mistakes, panicking, to the fact that, just think about it. I mean, the fact that he's sending in Todd Blanche to speak to Maxwell, that destroys everything. There's no, and from today on, there's no, you will never ever be able to validate or have it, because that's
no matter
it.
what she says.
No matter
at this
what
point,
she says, that's it. There's a, it's not like he's sending their Blanche and group of, I
right.
mean,
And I promise you, there is no chance on earth that they recorded that meeting, or if they did, they will pretend they never did. There is a great clip, by the way, of Epstein. I want to play this. Whitney's got it queued up here. Let's play this. We'll get your reaction on the backside.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
he can't make this shit up.
I would love to have played cards with that guy, because he's got every tell in his face is like, you can see the tells.
Like, oh yeah, I'd like to tell you that, we were pedophiles, but I'm not going to tell you that right now. I'm going to take my 5th,
I'm going to plead the 5th, so that, for now, which is interesting when he says for now, because if you're Donald Trump watching that now, you're like, oh shit.
Oh shit!
For now,
exactly.
those are the two words that would have, I think, triggered Trump or any of Trump's lawyers. Like, for now.
Well, yeah. Well, I think Epstein. Listen. I think he knew things were going on. But that's the other thing, Rick, that people don't want to talk about. That I think is extremely important. We need to put the focus on this. Epstein got arrested in 2019 during Bill Barr. Bill Barr was a type of guy at the time that, I know Bill Barr very well. He indicted me. He's the one. Bill Barr at the time of 2019 was on damage control. Trump was about to get impeached. Bill Barr was trying to save the institution of the presidency.
Clean up,
not so much helping Trump out. He didn't care about Trump, but he understood he needed to help Trump out to save the institution of the presidency, the most, what Bill Barr believes is the most powerful seat. So that was part of what he did to me. By arresting me, usually people think, and this is what, like, I just had a whole argument with Michael Cohen and others on the phone. They're like telling me, listen, she could have spoke when she wanted to speak. Well, I said, well, no. Somebody has to listen to you and want to give you a deal to speak. Not everybody gets a deal. I didn't get no deal offered.
If you're her and you got a hitch for 20 ahead of you,
right?
You want to make what you know count.
And she said it. She wanted to, but nobody would, because just like I asked when I came out to Southern District, the one thing my attorney till this day says, he goes, I've worked in Southern District for 25 years. Their motto is our doors are always open. Come in and talk to us. Well, Rick, when I got arrested, they wouldn't speak to me for 6 months until I went and I did an interview on Rachel Maddow. That was the most, when I did, then the next day they called me and said, pissed at me, called me in there to talk to me. And still, they never offer. And even in that proffer, Rick, they did not want to hear anything about Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani or my stuff in Ukraine. They wanted to hear about some kind of how I was working for the Russians to infiltrate. I mean, a story that they made up and they need to fit their narrative. And because I did not want to say it, they came out and told the world that I was a liar, that I did not want to cooperate with them and tell them the truth, and that's why they're not giving me a cooperation agreement. So when you look at Maxwell, I'm not defending her. She deserves. She's even worse than this Epstein character. Because So let's make it clear. But what I want to say is that, believe me when I tell you, as bad as she is, she would try to save her skin. She doesn't want to go away 20 years, especially.
No human being wants to spend 20 years, especially she's in a prison in the town where I am in Tallahassee, Florida, and it is not very well air conditioned. I got to tell you, I got to imagine she wants to hell out of there as quick as she can.
Absolutely. But the problem she was having, Rick, is her information. See, and this is what a lot of people don't understand also, and you know better than anybody, that when you cooperate, See, this is the key. When you decide and the government accepts your cooperation,
Mhm.
you have to tell them everything.
Right.
You have to tell them everything, every
Wide
crime
open.
you've ever committed, everything you've ever been involved with. And if you hide or protect anything, they will cancel their agreement.
Right.
A lot of people can't do that because the crimes that they're charged with, they know the government doesn't know all the other stuff.
Right. I'm sure she's done a lot of shit that the government has not indicted her for.
Correct.
And it would be like, okay, well, you got out of this 20, but you're doing another for these other crimes.
Correct. So it's not like, oh, here, I'm going to come and tell you Bill Clinton did this and I'm going to go for it. It doesn't work that way. People don't understand that. So yeah, it's a give or take. But what changed now is now you have a DOJ, you have a president that's willing to form the story. Now he's not looking for the truth. He's looking for bits and pieces of what you have. He doesn't want the whole
wants a narrative, not the truth.
Right. He wants the opposite. He's coming and saying, listen, I don't want you to give me everything. I want you to give me a slight narrative that's going to fit into my game. And because of that, I'm going to give you your freedom.
Donald left every party early. I never saw him do anything wrong.
Exactly. Donald didn't write that Wall Street Journal thing. It was somebody else.
It must have been somebody else.
It must have been somebody else. Oh, absolutely. You know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And the big thing is what I'm worried about, and I keep talking about, is these things that he's coming out, the fact that he's announcing he wants to go after, what's his name? Obama. I'm going to quote you something. Hold on a second. I wrote on my Substack, one of my sources literally heard Donald Trump say, I'm going to hold on a second, quote you. Where is it? Oh, this is not it. Oh, let me get. Well, what he's. Oh, here he goes. Okay, so his quote is, "Those scumbags raided my house at Mar-a-Lago, tried to throw me behind bars. You wait. Obama's going down for treason. You'll see who ends up in handcuffs." I mean, he's literally right now, because in his opinion, he needs to give his base some red meat because he knows he can't he can't bring the butterflies, all of them, back in. Some of them are convinced that Trump is covering up for pedophiles and they're not coming back.
Nope.
But if he could distract and all of a sudden give a bombshell of either Maxwell coming out and giving some crazy stuff on that, again, hypothetically, because I'm mentioning Clinton, not because I think he did something wrong, but just that's the name we know. I'm using it something as a bombshell, not to, blame him. But if she came out to say something about like a Clinton or came, or came out and, validates that it wasn't his letters and, stuff like that.
100%.
I mean, you're gonna see a major media shift. You're gonna see a major, get that mega base bringing in, and people start, falling back. And remember, 1 year is still it's like an eternity when it comes to elections.
Oh yeah, it's a long haul. Well, listen, my friend, I'm so grateful you came on today. Let's do this again soon. All right.
Absolutely, Rick. Definitely.
Hey, folks, Lev Parnas, levremembers.com. It's great Substack. And really, really a guy who knows where the bodies are buried. You ought to read him, check out, subscribe. It's all good stuff. Lev, I appreciate you. We'll see you again next time. Happy Friday, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Rick. Take care. Bye-bye.